Wealth isn't earned through hard work. It's taken through strategic warfare. Every dollar in your pocket exists because someone else doesn't have it. Every asset you own is an asset someone else lost. Every opportunity you seize is an opportunity someone else missed. This isn't economics, this is combat. And the people who win aren't the hardest workers, the smartest scholars, or the most talented creators. They're the ones who understand that wealth is a battlefield, and they've mastered the dark rules of engagement that no one will ever teach you. This video will reveal the 7 rules of financial warfare that the wealthy live by, but never speak about. Because in war, you don't share your tactics with the enemy. And if you're not wealthy yet, you're the enemy.
You're here because you've sensed it. The game isn't fair. The rules aren't what they told you. Hard work doesn't guarantee wealth. It just guarantees you'll be useful to someone who is wealthy. Most people spend their entire lives playing a game they don't understand, following rules designed to keep them losing. But you're different. You're not here for motivation, you're here for strategy. You're not looking for hope, you're looking for weapons. What you're about to learn isn't taught in business school. It's not discussed in financial literacy courses. It's not something successful people admit publicly. These are the dark rules of wealth accumulation, the psychological warfare tactics used by every empire, every dynasty, every fortune ever built. And they're about to become yours. Drop the word war in the comments if you're ready to stop playing fair in a rigged game. Let's see who's prepared for battle.
Rule 1. Violence of action beats perfect planning. Here's the first rule. In wealth warfare, speed of execution destroys perfect preparation. Most people spend years planning, researching, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect strategy, the perfect conditions. And while they're planning, someone else is taking the territory. This is called violence of action, a military concept that means overwhelming force applied rapidly and decisively. In wealth building, it means move fast, adjust later, dominate the space before anyone realizes what you're doing. Sun Tzu wrote, "Opportunities multiply as they are seized." But the inverse is equally true. Opportunities disappear as you hesitate. Here's how this plays out. You see an opportunity, a market gap, an undervalued asset, a trend forming. Most people analyze, they run projections, they consult experts, they wait for confirmation. And by the time they're ready to move, the opportunity is gone, taken by someone who acted while they were thinking. The wealthy understand imperfect action today beats perfect action tomorrow, because tomorrow the landscape has changed, the competition is moved, the window has closed. Here's the application. Set a 72-hour rule. When you identify an opportunity, you have 72 hours to either act on it or abandon it. Not to execute perfectly, but to commit, to take the first irreversible step. Buy the domain, make the offer, send the message, commit capital. Imperfectly, uncomfortably, but decisively. You can adjust the strategy once you're in motion, but you can't adjust if you never start. Here's the tactical advantage. While your competition is still in the planning phase, you're already in the market, learning, adapting, iterating. By the time they're ready to launch their perfect version, you're 3 iterations ahead and dominating the space. But here's the warning. Violence of action without intelligence is recklessness. You're not moving blindly. You're moving with 70% information instead of 100%. That's the balance. Enough knowledge to be dangerous, enough speed to be first. Because in wealth warfare, first mover advantage isn't just beneficial, it's often decisive.
Rule 2. Asymmetric warfare. Fight where you can't lose. Here's the second rule. Never fight on even ground.
In military strategy, asymmetric warfare means leveraging unconventional advantages against a stronger opponent. In wealth building, it means don't compete where you're equal, compete where you're unstoppable. Most people try to beat the competition at their own game. The competition has more money, they try to outfund them. The competition has more experience, they try to outwork them. That's symmetrical warfare. And in symmetrical warfare, the stronger side wins. But asymmetric warfare, that's where a small force defeats a large one by changing the battlefield. Machiavelli observed, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." You can't out-lion the lions, but you can out-fox them. Here's the pattern. A massive competitor dominates the market. They have scale, resources, brand recognition. Most people try to compete head-on, build a similar product, undercut on price, outmarket them. They lose because they're playing the competitor's game. But asymmetric strategy asks, where is the competitor vulnerable? What can't they do because of their size? What market segment are they ignoring? What speed advantage do you have? What personal relationship capital do you possess? That's your battlefield. Here's the application. Identify your unfair advantages, not your skills. Everyone has skills. Your unfair advantages, the things you can do that others can't or won't. Access to a specific community, that's asymmetry. Speed and flexibility they lack, asymmetry. Willingness to serve a niche they ignore, asymmetry. Personal brand in a space they can't dominate, asymmetry. Then build your entire strategy around that advantage. Don't compete where they're strong. Compete where they can't follow. Here's a concrete example. You can't outfund Amazon in e-commerce, but you can build a hyper-specific brand for a micro-community they'll never serve profitably. You can't outscale a corporation, but you can move faster, pivot quicker, and serve customers they consider too small to matter. That's asymmetric warfare. Here's the warning. This requires ego death. You have to abandon the fantasy of beating them at their game and accept that your path to victory looks different. Most people's pride won't let them take the unsexy, niche, unconventional path. That's why they lose. You're not trying to be better than everyone. You're trying to be incomparable. And incomparable means you're fighting a different war entirely. Rule 3. Ruthless resource allocation. Starve everything that doesn't compound. Here's the third rule. In war, resources are finite. Every bullet spent on a low-value target is a bullet you don't have for the high-value target. In wealth warfare, this means cut everything that doesn't multiply your position. Most people dilute their resources across dozens of activities, relationships, and investments. They're being balanced, diversified, well-rounded. But in warfare, well-rounded is another word for weak everywhere. The wealthy concentrate force. They identify the 20% of activities that generate 80% of results, and they starve everything else. Robert Greene calls this the law of concentration. Machiavelli called it economy of force. It means all of your time, capital, and energy should flow toward the few things that compound your power. Everything else is a distraction disguised as productivity. Here's how most people lose. They have a side business, 3 investment accounts, 5 networking groups, 10 projects, and a dozen hobbies. They're busy. They feel productive. But their resources are so scattered that nothing gains critical mass. Meanwhile, the person who focuses all energy on one business, One strategy, one compounding loop, they dominate. Not because they're working harder, but because they're concentrating force. Here's the application. Audit your life with brutal honesty. List everything you're spending time, money, or attention on. Then ask, does this compound my wealth, or does it consume my resources? If it consumes, cut it. Even if it's enjoyable, even if it's important. Because in warfare, you don't get to do everything. You get to win, or you get to be well-rounded. Choose. Here's the formula. Your time should go to activities that build systems, not just income. Your capital should go to assets that generate returns, not lifestyle. Your attention should go to relationships that multiply opportunity, not just provide comfort. Everything else, cut it or delegate it. Here's the warning. This will make you seem obsessed, unbalanced, extreme. People will tell you to enjoy life, to not work so hard, to have balance. They're not wrong from their perspective, but their perspective is the perspective of people who aren't at war. You are. And in war, concentration of force wins, dilution loses. So, let them be balanced. You be focused.
Rule 4. Strategic opacity. Your plans are your power. Here's the 4th rule. The moment you announce your plans, you've compromised your position. In warfare, intelligence is everything. And the best intelligence is keeping your movements hidden. In wealth warfare, this means never reveal your strategy until it's already executed. Most people do the opposite. They announce their business idea. They share their investment thesis. They explain their plan in detail, seeking validation, feedback, approval. And in doing so, they've just armed their competition and invited interference. Sun Tzu wrote, "All warfare is based on deception. When able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive." Your plans should be invisible until they're irreversible. Here's why this matters. You share your business idea, someone steals it and executes faster. You announce you're buying real estate in an area, prices go up before you close deals. You tell people you're launching a product, competitors launch first or copy you. You explain your investment strategy, others pile in, reducing your edge. Every time you speak, you give away advantage. Here's the pattern. Successful people operate in silence. They build, acquire, position, then announce only when it benefits them. Think about every major acquisition, every unicorn startup, every fortune built. It was happening in the shadows, long before anyone knew about it. By the time the public hears about it, the war is already won. Here's the application. Adopt operational silence. Work on your projects without announcing them. Build your wealth without broadcasting it. Make your moves without explaining them. And when people ask what you're up to, be vague. Working on a few things, exploring some opportunities, keeping busy. You're not lying. You're just not giving away intelligence. Here's why this is powerful. People can't interfere with what they don't know about. They can't compete with what they can't see. They can't discourage what they can't critique. Your silence is your shield. Here's the warning. This will feel lonely. Because you can't celebrate wins publicly. You can't share struggles for support. You can't get validation from the crowd. But that's the price. Because the crowd is full of competitors, critics, and people who benefit from your failure. Share with the few who've earned it. Stay silent with everyone else. And let your results speak when the time is right.
Rule 5. Controlled aggression. Strike decisively, then vanish. Here's the 5th rule. In warfare, you don't hold territory unless you can defend it, and defending is expensive. In wealth warfare, this means strike fast, extract value, move on. Most people try to fight every battle, defend every position, hold every asset. They become targets, they spread thin, they exhaust resources defending what they've won. But the wealthy use controlled aggression. They enter a market, dominate quickly, extract maximum value, then exit or automate before the costs escalate. Machiavelli advised, make war quickly, make peace slowly. Applied to wealth, capitalize on opportunities aggressively, but don't get trapped defending positions that drain you. Here's the pattern. You identify an opportunity, you move fast, you dominate the niche. Then, instead of trying to hold and defend forever, you either sell, automate, or pivot. You've extracted the value, now you move to the next battlefield. This is how serial entrepreneurs operate. They're not building one company for 40 years. They're building, scaling, exiting, repeating. Each cycle makes them wealthier and wiser. Here's the application. Think in campaigns, not careers. A campaign has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You identify the target, opportunity. You deploy resources, capital, time, energy. You execute the operation, build, scale, dominate. You extract value, profit, equity, exit. Then you move to the next campaign. This keeps you agile. It prevents you from becoming a defensive target. It compounds wealth faster than holding one position indefinitely. Here's the tactical example. You build a business to 1 million revenue. It's profitable. Most people try to grow it to 10 million. That requires different skills, more capital, more competition. But controlled aggression asks, can I sell this for 3 to 5x annual profit, take the liquidity, and start 2 new campaigns? Often, that's the better move. Because you're not emotionally attached, you're strategically mobile. Here's the warning. This requires detachment. You can't fall in love with your businesses, your investments, your positions. They're assets, tools, vehicles. When they've served their purpose, you move on. Sentimentality is expensive in war.
Rule 6. Zero-sum thinking. Every win has a loser. Here's the 6th rule, and it's the one no one wants to admit. Wealth is zero-sum in the short term. When you win a contract, someone else lost it. When you buy an asset below market value, the seller left money on the table. When you capture market share, your competitor lost it. This isn't cruelty, it's reality. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner you stop playing to not lose and start playing to win. Most people are taught to believe in win-win, that everyone can succeed, that there's enough for everyone. That's a comforting lie. In the long term, wealth can be created, but in every individual transaction, every opportunity, every negotiation, there's a winner and a loser. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Translation? People see the win. They don't see the warfare that created it. Here's the application. Stop seeking win-win. Seek to win. Then, if it's strategic, offer something to the other party. But always start from a position of maximizing your gain. In negotiations, that means anchor high, concede slowly. Extract maximum value. In competition, that means dominate the space, then worry about collaboration. In investments, that means buy low, sell high, and accept that the counterparty got the worse end of the deal. That's not evil, that's business. Here's the example. You're negotiating salary. The company wants to pay you $80K. You want $120K. Win-win thinking says meet in the middle at $100K. Zero-sum thinking says you get $120K or you walk. Because your skills are worth $120K and accepting less is subsidizing their profit with your underpayment. You're not being greedy, you're being accurate. Here's the warning. This mindset makes you uncomfortable.
because we're socialized to be fair, to share, to not be greedy. But wealth warfare doesn't reward fairness. It rewards effectiveness. You can be generous after you've won, but not before.
Rule 7, the final rule. Wealth is defended, not just earned. Here's the final rule. Accumulating wealth is one war. Keeping it is another. Most people never think about this because they've never accumulated enough to defend. But the moment you have wealth, you become a target for taxes, for lawsuits, for theft, for bad investments, for family, for friends, for the government. Everyone wants a piece, and if you don't defend it, they'll take it. This is why the wealthy obsess over structures, LLCs, trusts, offshore accounts, legal barriers, asset protection strategies, not to evade, but to defend. Sun Tzu wrote, "Security against defeat implies defensive tactics. Ability to defeat the enemy means taking the offensive." You've taken the offensive by building wealth. Now you must defend it or lose it. Here's the application. The moment you start accumulating, start structuring. Separate your assets from your liabilities. Use legal entities to shield personal wealth from business risk. Diversify across jurisdictions, asset classes, and structures. Build moats around your wealth so that when someone comes for it, and they will, they hit walls. Here's the warning. This isn't taught because the people who profit from your wealth want access to it. The tax system wants easy access. Creditors want easy access. Opportunists want easy access. So they shame wealth protection as greedy or paranoid. It's not. It's survival. Because you didn't build wealth to give it away to those who didn't earn it. You built it to have power, and power requires defense.
They tell you wealth is about hard work, good ideas, and persistence. That's not a lie, but it's not the truth either. It's a sanitized version designed to keep you compliant, because the real truth, the truth that every wealthy person knows but won't say, is this. Wealth is war, and war has rules. Dark rules. Rules that don't appear in business books or motivational speeches. Rules like move fast and break things, because hesitation is death. Rules like fight only where you can't lose, because fair fights are for fools. Rules like concentrate all force on what compounds and starve everything else. Rules like never reveal your strategy until it's already won. Rules like strike hard, extract value, and move before you become a target. Rules like accept that every win requires someone else to lose and make sure it's not you. Rules like defend what you've built or watch it get taken by those who didn't build anything. These aren't the rules they teach you in school. They're not the rules your parents told you. They're not the rules polite society acknowledges. But they are the rules that work. And the moment you accept that, the moment you stop pretending wealth is fair, collaborative, or gentle, is the moment you can actually start winning. Because the battlefield is already bloody. You're just deciding whether to stay unarmed or pick up a weapon. Most people will never make that choice. They'll keep believing that hard work is enough, that fairness matters, that playing by the right rules will eventually reward them. And they'll lose, quietly, gradually, wondering why the world is so unfair. But you know now, wealth is war, and the only question that remains is, are you ready to fight? Because the enemy isn't coming. The enemy is already here, and they're counting on you to stay ignorant, compliant, and unarmed. Don't give them that satisfaction. Pick up the weapons, learn the rules, enter the battlefield, and take what's yours. Because in war, there are no participation trophies, only victors and casualties. Choose which one you'll be.